Hello, guys. Nika here with your daily neuro nugget. I hope this chat doesn't cut off. I have been on here trying to go live for the last hour. A little bit weird. Again, my signal is perfect. My Wi-Fi is paid. Everything is perfect. Very strange. Very strange. Almost as if they don't want us to talk about this. Either way, guys, if you're in here, leave a thumbs up. Make sure that you are commenting in the chat. And I wanted to talk about the footage. I have talked about this in previous lives, and I think I sent you guys to Jules True Crime Reactions, I think is the full name of her channel. She has the footage. Go watch that clip, listen to the clip. That is part of the footage, new footage that has been released. And the reason this is a big deal, why it is a big boom, it's because, well, it's actually been released by law enforcement now. It's not just a random YouTuber with potentially edited videos, noises, whatever else. This is footage that has been released by law enforcement. Doesn't mean we can really trust them, but technically, this is the legit audio, right? Now, there's all these weird noises, and I just wanted to talk about this because everybody in the last live, not everybody, but a lot of people mentioned everyone is saying basically that these are regular party noises. Really? Regular party noises? Sounds like screaming to me. Sounds like someone getting unalived to me. But that's just me. These are my videos that I make for entertainment purposes only. So there you go. There you go. I don't know about y'all, but these are not any party noises that I've ever heard. Ever. In any party that I've ever been to. Not when I was in college, not when I lived in technically frat area Rome myself. I just also wanted to mention and remind you guys that this video, when we're hearing all these horrible screams, it's around 2 in the morning. What does that mean? That means that at this point, Kaylee and Maddie were already home, allegedly, from the timeline that we've been, fed. Kaylee and Maddie are already home from the corner club. Sounds like screaming, right, Bonnie? Hey, Tikkun. Hey, MS. Hey, Joanne. Around this time, everyone was already home, right? Bethany and Dylan included. According to Bethany and Dylan, though, at this time, Ethan and Xana are not home. So, who then is the male voices that we hear screaming bloody murder in this video? That are obviously, very clearly coming onto this camera at 1112 King Road, right? And we know that 1122 King Road is right there, right next to them. So I am just wondering, that scream, of course, sent chills from the top of all of our heads to the bottom of our feet. I told you guys in the last live that that's how I felt, and a lot of you guys said you feel the same way. There's something called intuition. A lot of people don't believe in that, but I think we get those chills for a reason. And of course, again, go listen to the entire footage. I already went through that list of things that I felt that I personally heard, and I also have a list of other things that other people say that they have heard. And I have gone back several times. I have listened with headphones. I have turned up the volume. I've blasted. I've tried to blur some of the background noise as well. Some of those things, yes, I can make out. Not all of them, but some of them. Of course, this is not anything definitive, right? That we know that we can hear, but I think we're all pretty much coming to the same conclusion. Why? Well, we know that a lot of it is all redacted. So every little bit of footage that is being released has, in my personal opinion, been tampered with in one way or another. So we have to take everything with a grain of salt here. Right, Emily? Right, La Fugitiva? Now, I have a big question, and it's that everybody keeps mentioning that these are normal party songs. You've obviously never lived in college town. I have I've lost track, 5 or 6 degrees. Okay, I've lived like feels like half my life in a college town. Okay. I have lived in college towns. I have attended several universities across the country. And I've lived in college towns. And I beg to differ, and this is my opinion, but in every college town that I have lived in, near frat row area with a lot of partying, a lot of everything. These are not typical noises that you hear in frat row. These are not typical noises that you hear in the university. So remember, this home, 1122 King Road, is a home that had so many noise complaints called on it. We have seen the logs from Moscow Police Department time and time again, phone call after phone call after phone call, noise complaints. And isn't it a little bit odd that then some people were obviously not afraid to call the cops and get them involved, right? So, ooh, someone's angry. Meow, meow. Get to the point, please. I will do what I want to do when I want to do it. Sorry, this is my channel. Um, Basically, some people were not afraid to call the cops to report this home, to report noise complaints from 1122 King Road. And then we have on this night of November 13, it's this loud. We now have all the footage. People are screaming at the top of their lungs. They are yelling at the top of their lungs. It sounds like people are getting unalived. We have activity, so much activity going on. Left, right, center. Right, La Fugitiva, not a scream like that. Okay, it sounds like there's all this activity and there's a large group of people going on in this footage from 1112, which is right there, right next to 1122 King Road. Okay. They're hooting and hollering, and there are so many male voices that I am picking up. You can hear the male voices very easily in this video. So, why is it that there was no noise complaint filed on this night? So, we were just okay with the noises that night. Every other time there was a noise, there were noise complaints. Again, just look at the Moscow Police Department logs, right? But then on this night, we're not okay with the noises, or we're okay with the noises, right? Nobody called, nobody made a complaint. And after listening to this footage, guys, it just has reassured me personally that I will never step foot in the state of Idaho, at least not without concealed carry or something. Okay, these are blood curdling torture screams. I cannot be convinced otherwise. And again, I lived in a college town for a long time. There is a massive difference between woo party yells versus blood curdling screams of terror. Big difference. I'm glad he made the live, Bethany. Big difference, right? I've never heard screaming like that at a party. And if you're not gasping after listening to this footage, let's talk about Dylan. Dylan not wanting to wake Xana from her nap, but then immediately called her phone. It's concerning. In my opinion, that is why I'm saying that Dylan is done for. We've heard the screams. You didn't want to wake Xana up from her nap, but then you immediately called her. All right? All right, Dylan. All right, Dylan. Elantra Bug, thank you so much for the $2. Anyone tell what they're singing 227 before the scream? Yes, the singing is really creepy. It's giving cult vibes to me. What do y'all think about that? Cult vibes? I don't know. Now, we've seen the images of Xana's room, right? It's well lit. Well lit. The lights were on. When we have seen Xana's room, we see red fluid. All the lights are on. This is the same room that Dylan had passed by to go down the stairs, to go down to Bethany's room. And at first, everyone had just assumed that Dylan had taken a peek and that she was sprinting down the stairs to get to safety. But then, when we analyzed Dylan's statement, there is no way that she just took a peek. Why? She gave way too many details of the room and of Xana. I'm sorry, if you're just sprinting on by, you're not going to catch these many details in, I don't know, 3 seconds or whatever. She gave way too many details of Xana, of the room, of the scene. Dylan says she could see all of her legs, and she also mentioned that she could see that Xana did not have pants on, and she could also see the top of her head. Dylan also mentioned that she could see that there wasn't very much mess in Xana's room. It sounds an awful lot like more than just a peek, right? She said she also saw some clothes on the floor, which is a very weird comment to make, considering that the mess that is in this room, right? She also made a comment about how she didn't actually go check on Xana. I didn't want to go check on her because I didn't want to wake her. Oh, I didn't want to wake her because she might have just been taking a nap. Hey, Holtz. Hey, Kimberly Ann. Hey, Strange Music. But then she goes down to Bethany Funk's room and they proceed to call Xana and Ethan multiple times. So if you didn't want to wake up Xana because you thought that she was taking a nap on the floor with no pants on, covered in red fluid, laying all in this red stuff, every single light in the house is on. And we have the twinkle lights on top of that. All the lights are on, and we have the twinkle lights. So a lot of illumination. So considering the details that Dylan is saying, all the way up to Xana's feet to the top of her head. What, Dylan? I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that you saw Xana lying on the floor. But again, if you didn't want to wake her, why would you then proceed to call her multiple times if you didn't want to wake her? See how that doesn't make sense? These little things are not little things. If you don't want to wake her, you don't want to go in the room to wake her. How would you just call her and wake her? That doesn't make sense, right? Like, why weren't the cops questioning her more in depth? Right? Like if the cops actually would have been decent human beings, it would have been like, I'm sorry, but if you didn't want to wake her, then what was the purpose of the calls? Right? Basic 1 + 1 = 2. Like maybe they could have said what were your intentions with the phone calls and Dylan Mortensen if you weren't trying to wake her, you know? Were you intending to wake her up? Were you intending for her to pick the phone up? And if you were intending for her to wake up and pick up the phone, then why wouldn't you just go in the room since you already saw her and give her a little nudge or something? Go check if she's sleeping or not, whatever. Things that just stand out to me. Don't sit well with a lot of us, right? We also hear a dog barking throughout the entire footage. It's constant throughout the video, different times, different hours. But we actually don't know who is that dog barking. Is that Murphy? Is that another dog? We don't actually know. So just because we hear a dog barking time and time again throughout this footage, who else had dogs in the neighborhood? Did anyone else have other dogs? Did they even look at that? Did they look at if other people had outdoor dogs or other dogs that maybe ran away that night? We don't know if that was Murphy. People are just jumping to conclusions. We know that when we go through the police records, there was a man walking his dog that claimed he saw the front door wide open. So, did they take that dog into account? I would hope that they talked about that, right? And then we also have other reports of dogs that had been skinned and unalived and horrible things that were happening to pets in the neighborhood, basically, right? The dog that was unalived, he was hung up and skinned by who? The fraternity guys, right? because they're crazy. So yes, there were people in the area that did own other dogs. So again, is it Murphy barking or is it just a random dog barking? Hey, Latina. Hey, Annie. Hey, Holes. There's no actual factual information based around the timeline. We can't base it around Murphy when we don't even know if this is Murphy or not, right? So just these are some things that I personally have picked up on and don't sit well with me. You guys know most of my content is me just asking questions out loud. That's what it is. And then trying to pose these questions to you and get your point of view. So, yes, when you guys reply to me, I do try to read it. Um, that being said, a lot of you guys do send me other videos from other YouTubers. I typically don't watch those because a lot of the times they have been heavily edited. We can't be for sure if the videos or the noises have been tampered with. So I typically don't watch those. My life is too busy at the moment to have time to watch those anyway. So it's just strange, right? It's coming across as the phone calls were only made to match your story. She already knew everything. They know exactly what happened. They know exactly what happened. Um, and we know that all files, all the footage is redacted. When we look at the top of the footage that we are analyzing even now, it says at the top that these are redacted. So we don't have everything yet. It makes it very confusing. Why is everything still so heavily redacted? I feel like you would be screaming from the mountains. I solved this case. Look at Brian. He's the one. Look at my evidence. If Brian was actually a guy, but instead they're like hiding everything. If this is your guy, if you have all this evidence, if the case is closed, then show us the evidence. Why are you still redacting everything? Thank you. Appy Cakes. Thank you. It's weird that they're still concealing everything. And not only that, but it's frustrating for all of us here, for the public, for citizens. We know that this is information that technically we should all have access to, right? The public should have access to everything in this case. So, can you imagine being a family member of the victims? Like how frustrating that would be? It would be frustrating because the families didn't get a lot of the evidence, a lot of the information before the public. They're finding out as we are finding out. And I'm very curious to see if they're going to shift their perspective on this case. So that's got to be very, very hard. So at the end of the day, I am sending thoughts and prayers still to the family, although I have disagreed with a lot of them, but still, right? Um, I do think that it is strange that the two roommates should have been considered suspects. Again, statistically speaking, when you find two people in a home where four people were brutally chopped to bits, um, you and I, you and I all know that if Dylan and Bethany were male, they would be in jail right now. Because, yeah, good luck being two dudes in that house with four bodies and you sat your ass around and you were awake and you were on your phone and you were on social media and you didn't hear anything and you didn't call the cops. Yeah, you'd be in prison for sure. If you were a guy, you'd be in jail for sure. You would be suspect number one. That's my personal opinion. They should have been suspects. I've said this from day one. They fucked up. These two should have been treated as suspects, but that's my opinion. You guys can agree to disagree. So, isn't it strange that to this day, we still don't know when Xana and Ethan came home? Do you guys not find that odd? Because again, when I first heard this footage, I almost fell over. You hear a man, and the first thing that comes to mind, the scream of the man, I mean, it's got to be Ethan, right? I also think that it's strange that there's no video of Xana and Ethan coming home. Where's that video? got to be a video. I think that it's Ethan screaming because he's being incapacitated by having the back of his legs cut, right? When we have gone through the autopsy, we know that they sliced the back of his legs, basically. So he, in my opinion, would have been the very first victim the perpetrators would want to immobilize, right? If you have a guy that's 6 foot, I don't know, 250 pounds or whatever he is, he's a big dude, right? He's athletic. Um, and you have three other women, or actually five, counting Bethany and Dylan. But if you have three other people that you have to get through, wouldn't you incapacitate? Wouldn't you immobilize your biggest target first? You would. It's something that it's never going to sit well with me. The fact that the two roommates did not call 911. It's very easy to say they were scared. No one knows how they would react to hearing something like that. No, I'm sorry. I do not, and I will never comprehend why they didn't call 911. Again, these are not kids. They're adults. They are adults. Hey, Hot Pie Gravy, I'm glad you made it. They are adults and they should have been separated and taken into patrol units immediately. It makes no sense that they were allowed to giggle like little fucking clucking hens in the back. We've seen the videos. The cops never separated them. We see all the women, because again, they're not kids, they're grown ass women, right? They're back there yapping. Who the fuck? What kind of police department does that? You let the people that should be considered suspect number one and two, you let them just go talk to each other, hang out, leave your area and go change, go shower, go do whatever. You don't even know. They literally could have been disposing of evidence. I'm not saying they did. I'm just saying this because it points to how fucked up the entire investigation was, how biased the cops were from the get-go. Oh, two little blonde women, they could never. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. We're not buying that bullshit here. I'm sorry. For me, the screams, it just makes me think that this was Ethan with his legs being cut, and probably moments later, he was gone, right? It's very sad to hear this. Um, okay, this is not a party scream. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Get the fuck out of here. T Coon says, clucking hens, good description. They're literally clucking. I don't know. It's so fucking annoying. And the cops are just like, yeah, I'm just a fucking cop. I don't really things like this don't happen in Moscow. Really? Because sounds like Chief Fry has a record of finding bodies by the university, right? Was he not the one that found that other boy that was drowned in the river? Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, things like this never happen in Moscow, yeah. I lived in a little fucking small-ass town in the middle of shithole Indiana, okay? I'm gonna tell you a little something. If there are corrupt cops, they're cops, they're everywhere, right? Now I live in Chicago. There's corruption everywhere, but in those small fucking towns, yeah, those cops are tight as fuck with one another, cannot be trusted. We actually had an incident growing up where a cop tried to frame my brother for some bullshit he did not do because of our hair, because we're not blonde with blue eyes. Yeah, that's a thing. Sorry to break it to you. Yeah, that's a thing in 2026, basically. It's basically 2026. Okay. Okay. And not everyone has put two and two together until I pointed this out. Yes, I am right about Dylan. I'm right about the contradictions that she has made time and time and time again. This is so wild. And in my opinion, Bethany, we don't talk about her often, but in my opinion, she's very concerning and maybe she's smarter. Maybe she's not as dumb as Dylan because Bethany is keeping her pie hole shut, right? She's keeping her pie hole shut. She's like, I ain't saying shit. Right? Whereas Dylan is blabbing, 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 contra fucking dicting herself time and time again. Bethany, in my opinion, we need to look into her a little bit more. We need to look at her a little bit more because the quiet ones, can't trust them. Can't trust the quiet ones. Maybe she's just smarter, right? And by the way, before I go, were there any police patrolling at this time now? They should have been, right? They didn't hear anything either? Interesting. Interesting. Again, with all the police encounters at this house, with all these complaints, why would the normal complainers not complain on this night? Were there actual complaints and maybe were they ignored because key people on the police department knew what was happening? Again, we've heard Officer Gooch. What a dumb name. I'm sorry. It's just silly. She can't help it. It's her last name. But Officer Gooch, Vicky Gooch, right? What did she say? Oh, well, law enforcement wears balaclavas. Yeah, bitch, we know. We know. Don't think we haven't forgotten about Rosie. Okay, we have not forgotten about Rosie or Fry creeping through the back window of 1122 King Road, right? But thank you, Officer Gooch, for mentioning that. Thank you for reminding us that yes, officers do wear balaclavas. Creepy. And by the way, this is my take, right? We all know our government. Let's stop playing dumb. We all know our government. A lot of you guys have told me you are previous law enforcement, you are previous military, you're whatever. We all know our government is full of humans. And what are humans prone to? Fuckery. And you don't actually get your angel wings and a halo for being a cop, a politician, a government agent, any civil job. Okay, there are receipts for this all around you. We see it in our tax bills, in our paychecks. We see it how the government spends money that we pay. We see it in the laws that they create that guess what? These laws are not actually exactly designed to make our life better, are they? No, they're not. What we are not used to is finding this in a nobody murder case, right? We have all these college kids who are at some shithole college in Idaho. Maybe it would have been different if it was a different college. Maybe a Yale, maybe a Harvard, maybe a Brown University. You might see something like this. We might actually get some action taken. Otherwise, what happened there, it's just going to be a very unfortunate occurrence, right? I mean, just to sum it up, yes, Dave Clayton, there are a lot of creeps in this story. Molly didn't see him with Tisdale. No, she didn't. So where was Rosie? Hmm, where was Rosie? Where did you drop him off, Tisdale? Not to mention that whole fuckery with the car, right? The patrol car that they were riding. Yeah, those things are logged. Those things are supposed to be logged, and someone ended up effing up the log. He was like, I didn't take the car, it was somebody else. I don't even know why it has my name on the log. It wasn't me. So again, if two cops are patrolling and one of the DoorDash drivers, Molly, only sees one of the cops in the vehicle, where the hell was the other one? Because it sure sounds like Molly saw Tisdale, the redhead. Tisdale, sir, would you like to come to the stand? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Come to the stand, sir. We have some questions. Where the fuck did you leave Rosie? Because y'all were supposed to be patrolling together. Together. Yeah. What are the odds that on the night of a quadruple homicide that a scream of agony, a scream of terror, would not be related to said quad homicide? Okay, I mean, get real. Get real, people, right? It's crazy. And Lafuhitiva says, why is Brian the least creepy of everyone? Yeah, crazy, right? The man that's accused of this quad homicide is the least creepy. Everyone else has creepy, dark backgrounds. Okay, we'll say Brian's creepy because he likes to go on hikes in the dark. Oh my god, that is so weird. You know it's creepy? Cops not being where they're supposed to be, claiming that they were patrolling when they were actually not. That's creepy. Um, what's creepy? Hearing these horrific screams, but then Dylan and Bethany didn't hear a thing, right? That's creepy. So, this is insanity. This is insanity. Let me know what you guys thought about this live. Leave a like, leave a comment. Thank you guys for joining me in today's video. Love Tina says, got messed up just like the fridge full of DNA. Oh, yeah. We have the fridge full of DNA that magically broke down when we know damn well they have alarms, okay? If a fridge full of forensic DNA goes down, guess what? They're legally required to have a backup. They're legally required to have alarms to keep the DNA within certain temperatures. And not only that, but we have a whole warehouse where all the shit magically got burned down too. And we have a house that got destroyed immediately. At this point, I'm like, look, is it a psyop? Did it happen? Did it not happen? Did people actually pass away? I don't know. But there is one thing I know, and this is that we're not getting the full story. We're getting BS, some BS story for whatever reason. So thank you guys for joining me in today's live. I've been here too damn long. Yeah, that's very concerning to me, Dave Clayton. They used his autism against him. And statistically speaking, people on the spectrum are less likely to commit violent crimes. I have shared several studies with all of you here. And that's scary. Because they're like, he's so scary because he's weird. He's socially awkward. And he's a nerd. All he does is study. Who does that? He had problems making friends. Oh, no fucking way. No shit. Just like most neurodivergent people do, right? Yeah, the fire, right? It's like thing on top of thing on top of thing on top of thing getting destroyed. 2 pounds. Dave Clayton, thank you so much. Can I buy an energy drink with that? Ah! Thank you guys for all the super chats. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.